Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking the metaphysical and psychological concepts of reality transurfing and translating them into a highly practical, daily actionable guide. I mean, think about how exhausting it is to just constantly fight against the current of your everyday life. We're so often trapped by fear, emotional reactions, and this lingering feeling that we are literally pushing a giant boulder uphill. But what if there was an actual cheat code for a smoother reality? The source material we're looking at today argues something pretty radical. By mastering your inner state, you can literally change the physical world you experience, shifting from constant resistance into complete flow. All right, here's our itinerary for the day. We'll start with a space of variations, jump into a morning routine for setting intentions, tackle work stress by reducing importance, look at detaching from social media pendulums, explore the mirror principle, and finally, wrap up with choosing your reality. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The space of variations. This is our foundation for the day. Before we even get out of bed, we need to establish the core premise of all of this. Reality is not fixed. According to the source material, every single possible life scenario, success, failure, massive wealth, terrible relationships, it all already exists out there. Imagine reality as this infinite field of possible futures. It's actually super helpful to think of this like walking through a massive cosmic supermarket. You don't have to build the store from scratch. You don't have to magically create your desired future out of thin air. The whole shebang already exists right there in the space of variations. The only question is, which aisle are you going to walk down? And how do you navigate toward it? Well, that comes entirely down to your beliefs, your focus, and your inner state. A really brilliant way to conceptualize this is to imagine your mind as a literal radio dial. Your thoughts and your emotional state act just like a frequency, pulling you toward the version of reality you constantly focus on. Think about what it physically feels like to be tuned into a bad station, right? There's that awful static, anxiety, a sense of rushing, maybe a tight chest. If you wake up and immediately tune your dial to that fear and negativity, you're absolutely going to catch the broadcast of a highly stressful reality. But if you tune into a good station, which feels like flow, calm awareness, and synchronicity, you literally begin to move toward a much more successful variation of your life. Section 2, morning routine and setting intentions. Okay, so let's actually wake up and start our day. How do we set those calm intentions before the outside world completely interferes? The source gives us a specific 3-step process. Visualize clearly, stay calm, and mentally live your future identity. Now, instead of daydreaming or obsessing over what you wish you had, the author recommends a very grounded, practical visualization technique. Calmly rehearse your desired reality as if it is already a fact. Don't sit there fantasizing about winning the lottery. Instead, calmly imagine the completely mundane, real details of your desired success. Feel the steering wheel of the exact car you want. Hear the sound of your confident footsteps walking into your new office. You aren't forcing anything. You're simply stepping into the identity of the person who already has what you want. And here is the real secret sauce. You have to cultivate emotional certainty, but entirely without desperation. You want a calm, intentional focus. Let's contrast those two feelings for a second. Picture the desperate, sweating energy of hoping you don't mess up a huge presentation at work. Your heart is pounding, you're terrified. That desperation screams to the universe that you don't have the success yet, and you're terrified you never will. Now contrast that with the calm, relaxed posture of knowing you've already completely nailed it. Certainty means knowing the outcome is already yours in the space of variations. It allows you to just relax, drop your shoulders, and tune right into it. Section 3. Work stress and reducing importance. So we're into the midday grind. The emails are piling up and pressure is mounting. We need to handle this without losing our morning calm. To do that, you have to shift from what's called inner intention to outer intention. Inner intention is all about forcing reality through massive effort and anxiety. Imagine you're trying to solve a complex problem at work, and you are literally trying to force a square peg into a round hole while your boss watches. You are sweating, pushing harder, obsessed with making it fit. Outer intention is taking a step back, taking a deep breath, scanning the room, and calmly realizing there is a square hole right next to it. It's staying calm, doing steady work, and just noticing the natural opportunities that open up to get the job done easily. Here's a fascinating concept. When you desperately want money or obsessively fear failure, reality actually pushes back against that excessive emotional pressure. The source text calls this excess importance. So when your inbox is completely exploding and a deadline is looming, you need a quick reset. 3 steps. First, literally drop your shoulders and stay calm in the face of that pressure. Second, reduce your emotional attachment to the outcomes. Honestly, Missing one single email is not going to end the world. And third, act confidently without desperation. Answer what you can, do the steady work, but completely drop the frantic life-or-death attitude about the result. It is wild to think about, but people literally sabotage their own goals simply because they care too much and create intense internal tension. Think about professional athletes for a second. They practice a specific shot thousands of times, flawlessly, but in a championship game, they choke. Why? Because they overthink it. They've attached excess importance to that single moment, generated fear, and tuned their radio dial straight to the reality of failure. The exact same thing happens in the corporate world or even just doing our daily chores. By actively reducing the importance of a stressor, you immediately get your mental clarity back. You find your flow state. Section 4. Detaching from social media pendulums. Okay, we hit the late afternoon, exhaustion sets in, and we open our phones. This brings us to a massive, massive energy drain, the news cycle and social media. Seriously ask yourself, why do we willingly engage with angry groups or mass fear online when we know it leaves us feeling depleted? Think about how completely absurd this modern phenomenon is. You finish a long day of work, you lie down in a comfortable bed, you are completely safe in your home, and suddenly your heart is racing and your blood is boiling because two total strangers are fighting in a comment section. Why do we let this happen? The material we're looking at defines these systems as pendulums. A pendulum actively tries to pull you into emotional reactions, arguing, panicking, obsessing. It operates exactly like a social media algorithm. Listen, it does not care if you love the topic or if you absolutely hate it. Whether you are passionately supporting some toxic trend or furiously typing an argument against it in the comments, you are still feeding it your emotional energy. It feeds entirely on friction. It survives on your chaos and your divided attention. So what's the play here? To detach from these draining pendulums, you simply have to stop reacting emotionally. You have to starve them. When you're scrolling and you see a provocative headline or an infuriating comment, you need to recognize it for exactly what it is, a trap designed to steal your energy. When you spot that trap, just smile at the realization of what it's trying to do, stay perfectly calm, and physically put your phone down. By refusing to hand over your emotional energy, that pendulum loses absolutely all power over your reality. Section 5. The Mirror Principle. As our day winds down, it's the perfect time for evening reflection using one of the most famous concepts from this material. Reality behaves like a mirror. This is a beautiful analogy. The inner state you've maintained all day reflects directly back into the outer reality you experience. Think about it. Stand in front of a real bathroom mirror and try to force your reflection to smile while your physical face is frowning. No way, right? It's impossible. The source argues reality works the exact same way. But there's a catch. Reality has a time delay. You might have to hold that confident, calm inner smile for a little while before the universe actually catches up and reflects it back to you. You can't just try this for one morning and then give up. Let's map out how this actually works. Your inner expectation dictates the outer reflection. If you constantly expect rejection, the mirror is going to show you rejection. But if you maintain that calm morning intention of growth, opportunities literally begin appearing around you. Imagine two people experiencing the exact same delayed flight at an airport. Person A has an inner expectation of problems. They get furious, scream at the gate agent, their stress skyrockets, and their whole day is ruined. They manifested a terrible reality. Person B has an inner expectation of growth. They see the delay as an opportunity, pull out a book they've wanted to read, strike up a calm conversation with a stranger, and end up making an amazing business connection. The mirror just reflects their inner state right back at them. Section 6. Choosing your reality. Let's wrap this up. What does this daily mindset shift actually achieve for you? Well, by finding emotional balance and conscious focus throughout your day, you gain true mental clarity. The calmer and more intentional your mind becomes, the more you seamlessly align with the variations of life you actually want to experience. You don't have to push that boulder uphill anymore. So I'm going to leave you with this final challenge for your own routine. If every possible version of your life already exists out there in the space of variations, the only question left is, which frequency are you going to tune into tomorrow morning? Stop fighting reality and start choosing it.